What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crafter Hours. This is a special series of streams on the System Crafters channel where we work on a longer-term project, or at least some number of longer-term projects, just to see what we can build in a more reasonable amount of time, because 2 hours on a Friday is just not enough. Let's see. We'll wait for some people to start filtering into the chat. Let me get some things set up here. All right. Excuse me. I saw Trev in the chat. Trev says, geeks or die with a skateboard. Yes, it is kind of like a very difficult Nintendo game where you have to bang your head in frustration many times before you can ever make any real progress. So it is like that. Astra says, next week on Crafter Hours, write an IRC bot as a Twitch to Libra bridge. Well, I have one. I have one already. I just need to fix it. I think it's just an authentication issue that needs to be addressed. Once that's fixed, then we will have our bridge back up again. So SCC copies, services will no longer be needed, thankfully for Ashraz. Hello to Cal and to Glenn, and Ashraz, obviously. No monster today. Just drinking regular old cappuccino. Got to tone it down a little bit, got to make sure that I'm not going to kill my kidneys with all the strange ingredients in those beverages, So yeah, these streams are just more of a laid back experience. We're just hanging out, working on some interesting things. I call it Crafter Hours because it's more like just you're coming into my development environment, let's say, and riding along with me as I'm crafting something. And then I'm also getting help from all of you because I don't really code very well unless I have 20 people watching over my shoulder and telling me all the things I'm doing wrong. Which I think everybody should do it that way, Everybody should just do mob programming because you get a lot more ideas faster that way. It's great. It works for me. I particularly enjoy the game jams where I have people catching all my mistakes before I do. Crafter's crib? What do you mean, Ashraz? Am I a baby? Wah! Am I a baby? I don't think so. Crafter's crib, you mean like Crafter's home? Yeah, you're coming into my Emacs frame, my terminal Emacs frame. We can call that a crib. So yeah, yeah, I'm working through GNU TV cribs. It is like that, Trev. I'm working through the overall strategy. Sorry, I just pressed a button on my keyboard. I was trying to make sure it didn't kill the audio. Anyway, I'm working through the strategy for how I want to produce content out of these streams. You've probably noticed that I've posted quite a number of videos over the last week, like three shorts and 2 videos, 2 normal length videos. Things worked out pretty well for that. I'm still not 100% satisfied with the quality yet, but it's not bad. I think it's okay. Ashra says, hey, I heard you like systems, so we put a system in your system so you can system while you system. That's right. We're going full exhibit style here. Pimp my geeks. And by the way, let me know at any time if the stream seems to be lagging or anything weird is going on. I'll have to adjust some things going on my computer. So, I think what I was trying to do in the last couple of days is cut together a video from the very first stream to sort of show the progress that we're making on the project. And it turns out that's not so easy. And I've tried to do this before, back with Flux Harmonic. It's not pronounced Gix, Big Edie. Nice to see you, Big Edie. I've tried to cut summary videos from streams before, and it's just too hard. There's just too much stuff that's happening, and it's really difficult to have a narrative. Hey, Zane. Too difficult to have a narrative to follow and to make it coherent and interesting. So I think what I'll try to do instead is at the beginning of every stream, I'm going to do a summary of what we did in the last stream to demo the current progress, show and explain the code that we've written in the last time, and maybe answer any questions people have about what's been going on, because it serves two purposes. One is that those of you who weren't here last time, if you're following the streams, will get a summary of what happened last time, and then I can also cut that piece into its own video, which might be, let's say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as opposed to 45 minutes of me bumbling around. And if anybody wants to see the actual literal development process, they can watch the stream recordings, because those will be up also. So many different levels of content for everyone. I'm trying to get better as a YouTuber. I'm trying to just, inundate you with notifications that there's new videos on the channel, which probably will become very annoying. So once it does become annoying, let me know so I can dial it in a little bit. But we're doing the best we can here, Trying to start off 2025 strong and make sure that I actually make a real concerted effort towards growing the channel. If the reaction so far to the new videos is any indication, I think that people are kind of liking the increased focus on programming, which is good because I'd rather be programming than talking about Emacs packages all day. So let's see what we can do to put it all together. King Racket says, which scheme implementation are you using? We are using Guile scheme. Mainly because it is quite practical and also is used for GNU Geeks, which I use primarily for my Linux distribution. So it is pretty useful for this purpose. All right. So another thing I want to do to kind of keep track of what's happening in the streams and also to give sort of a log of what's been happening is to create some kind of activity log file that we can follow along with. So I'm going to put this in systemcrafters.net somewhere. I can't really put it under the live streams path, I think, because it's going to end up showing up in the live streams feed. So let's see, how can I do this? Hello to Arturo. What be going on? I started using Emacs. It's cool. Emacs is cool. So with the org timer clock list, nah, we're not going to go that far. We might be able to integrate something like that, though, at some point. That might be a good idea. Could be helpful. Zane says, I'm guessing it's Zane Jabbar there, who's talking in the chat right now. Let's see. And I might be mispronouncing your name as well. Yes, the fibers video, Ashraz. I'm glad to hear that you learned something from it, Zane. Okay. So back in systemcrafters.net project. Content slash, it could be content slash crafterhours.org, but that feels like that might be too vague, but maybe we can just start with that for now and then change it later. All right, so title. Crafter Hours Development Log. 2025. Otherstreams.org, yes. That's delightfully vague. All right, so this is January. And today is, what is today? Wednesday? I may be breaking this down a little bit too much. Probably should be using a, what do they call it? A date tree, org date tree. That's only for capturing, though, I guess. We also had streams on the 13th and Wednesday. It's not the 25th. Zane says, yes, you know me, even though I rarely can make the streams. I know you more from your your Geeks contributions that we both had worked on, the Emacs home service that I never finished. Arturo says, so in Geeks, do you have to use a Libre computer? No. You do not have to use a computer with Libre hardware. I'm using a Framework 13 right now, but I also use a number of ThinkPad laptops. So you just need the non-Geeks channel. Check out my video on full Geeks installation. It will tell you how to do that. January what? 8th? Is that what it was? Calendar. Last Wednesday was the 8th. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know that I'll go in and fill in all the details from the previous dates. I mean, maybe set up basic HP server with Guile fibers. Established basic route handlers. Basic page rendering with SXML. Can't remember what else we did that day. Implemented, created record type for the package type, package model. Implemented basic CRUD operations against SQLite database for package. Split out package model into its own module. That was the first module that we created. And for today, we'll keep a track of what we do as we go on. Let me split this window, and then I can keep an eye on the chat at the same time. Yes, that's right. Empty Paren had some feedback on a few of them. It is an important service, and it needs to be finished. Someone else came and made their own implementation of it after I did, too. So there's like 3 or 4 different implementations on the mailing list that, and none of them have been accepted at this point. I think it's just because nobody's gone to the work to actually finish it up. Hello to Paul. All right. Just making sure I'm recording. Let's see. What else did we do last time? And this is definitely not the summary that I'm going to put in the video. I'm trying to get my own bearings about what happened since last time. All right, we'll pull that up and then scroll that down a little bit. So I was going to look at the log. VC log. How do I get the diff? Yes, Ashraz is saying there's a non-free kernel repository that you can use. There is. It's in the non-geeks repository. Okay. I'm using VC mode, but apparently I haven't done like an actual history. Buffer's not version controlled. Log merge base. Ed. Come on, man. Thanks, Ashraz. That's real helpful. I know. I'm just trying to use VC mode more for everything. And, give me a break. I did it again. Yes. Yes. No, not a dump core. God. I swear to God, man. And I'm not even streaming from that computer anymore, and it's still, like, hosing things enough that it does that weird emergency exit stuff. What language does Geeks use? It uses Guile Scheme, the language we will be using today to poorly implement a web server. All right. Do I have Magit installed? I do have Magit installed. Let's just use Magit for this, because good God. Now, if you can believe it, I've forgotten how to use Magic. It's been a while. Okay, so what else do we do? Okay, we added the SQLite 3 library. Yeah, we set up the database access. We created a basic database schema, so that's another thing we did. I guess technically it's covered by this item. Okay. And then we updated the package list and detail pages to load from the database. Artificial Anime Universe is asking for help with code. I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm terrible at programming. All right. We tried to set up a Reppel server. That didn't actually work, did it? What did I do for Reppel in the end? I don't think it worked. Attempted to set up a co-op Reppel server to no avail. Okay. And then we set up the package file. All right. Excuse me. So we've only had 2 streams so far. That's cool. Let me actually zoom in on text a little bit too. Yes, Oshraz is saying to Artificial Anime Universe to check out the forums, the forum.systemcorrectors.net, if you have a question about programming in general, because there are people there who know some things about programming. All right, so now I'm going to try to do a little bit of a recap to put into a video, but I'm going to have to start from sort of the beginning to explain the project so that that can be part of the entire end-to-end first video about the project, because we kind of need to have a video to set the context. I'm trying to have a playlist, let's say, for what I would call real-world scheme programming, and the project is going to be sort of the context for everything going forward, but there will be individual videos inside of it that come from the streams, sort of like the Fibers one. I'm going to make one on SQLite in Guile as well pretty soon here. Maybe today I'll edit that up. Okay. Arturo says, I'm learning Haskell as my first programming language. I don't know why I'm fascinated by functional programming. Because it is fascinating. Functional programming is cool. And Haskell's pretty interesting. All right. So recently we started working on a new project on the System Crafters channel during the Crafter Hours streams that just started recently. And the project was called emacspackagescom. Emacspackages.com intends to be a website where a person can go and take a look at all of the available Emacs packages across the various Emacs package repositories like ELPA, the GNU ELPA, non-GNU ELPA, MELPA, MELPA stable, and potentially other sources of packages like Geeks, maybe Nix, and also individual Git repositories where packages live that aren't stored in some other package source up until now. So the idea is not only to have a full package listing that people can go look at, but also for people to go and indicate which packages they use in their own configuration so that we can do some interesting things like see which packages are commonly used together, or maybe point to places in individual users' configurations where they use these packages so that you can see examples of how to configure that package or maybe configure it along with other packages. So I feel like this could be a pretty interesting project that fits in with the overall set of topics on the System Crafters channel, could be useful to the Emacs community. And it's also a great opportunity for us to do some real world programming with Guile Scheme. And that's sort of the point of this whole playlist, the real world scheme programming or scheme hacking playlist. We're trying to show how a person can use Guile Scheme and Scheme in general to write real world applications. So in the streams, in the Crafter Hours streams, we're currently building this project from scratch. As of right now, if you want to check the Crafter Hours devlog, you can check out the notes in the description, and also on the streams there will be a link to the devlog. But you can see sort of what we have been doing on any given day. We've only had 2 streams so far. I'm currently recording or live on the 3rd stream where we're recording this video. But in the first stream, we basically set up the basic HTTP server using Guile Fibers. I've made a video about Guile Fibers based on what we did on the stream there. Just gives us the ability to do concurrent web request handling, among other things. We also established basic route handlers. So if you want to go see what all that looks like, we can jump over to let me jump back to this file, main.scm file, and hop down to the bottom. And basically, we have a basic HTTP server. We have run server here, which actually comes from Fibers itself. And then the handler procedure, ignore the Reppel server stuff, that's not currently working. We have some code that splits the current URI path and then uses the match expression to break that path apart and to see which endpoint the user is trying to hit. So in this case, we're only looking for the packages endpoint now, where either you want to get a listing of all packages or maybe look at the details of a specific package. And then it returns the response based on the procedure that gets returned from this handler, this match expression. So these handlers are actually using SXML, which is partially it's a library that's in Guile Scheme, but it is sort of a general idea across Lisps. But the idea is that you have a simple S expression based format to describe XML, which HTML is a type of XML document, and then that gets turned from the S expression form that you see here into an actual XML document on the other side after you use the SXML to XML procedure. So there's an SXML to XML procedure that will, when given an S expression, or basically a series of nested lists, it can turn that into an XML file. And the way that it's accomplishing that is if you have, like, let's say here, HTML is the top level element, anything inside of that is going to be nested inside of 2 opening and closing HTML tags. And then everything under that then will get turned into XML and just placed into the overall structure of the document. And because this is all S expressions, you get to use the power of Lisp or Scheme to use backquoting, which basically means you get templating for free as part of the language that you're using. Because here, as you can see, we have the backquote in front of this list, and we are using the splice character, the comma, to insert the value of the title binding and also the value of the body binding here directly into the document. And other places here, you can also tell that we are doing things like using a map expression to loop over a list of packages and then template out the details for each individual package. So we're able to do a lot of pretty useful things in a concise way in Scheme just by using the built-in functionality of Guile Scheme. The SXML library is built in. There's also a web server built in, which we could have been using, but I wanted to use Fibers for this case, so we are using an external library for the concurrent HTTP server part of this. But it's effectively the same API as what you get in the box with the Guile web server library. So if you've used one of them before, the other would be pretty easy to also take a look at. So let's see, what else did we do? So we set up the basic route handlers, the basic page rendering with SXML. We also created a record type for the package model. So I've already moved it to another file, but we started off with it in the main.scm file. But if you check out this models site/models/package.scm file, you'll see that we are using define record type, and that comes from the Surfy 9 module, Surfy 9 module. That's part of Guile Scheme. And it's basically like a struct in other languages. It's not like a class because there's no inheritance in this version of record types in Scheme. So you can define a record type that has a number of fields and has a constructor procedure. In this case, we're defining it to be make package. And you can use that to efficiently access the values of a particular object that has been created with this struct constructor, or this record constructor. So we're defining a very simple package struct here, which is effectively the ID, the name, and the source of the package. But we're going to end up adding a lot more stuff to that because we need to have more details about the version of the package, many other pieces of information that you're going to need. So we're probably going to add some more stuff in the latest stream. But you can see that we do have a record type for this, and we're going to end up creating record types for everything else that is part of the model of this website. So that was pretty much it from the first stream. In the second stream, that was on Monday this week, we created a basic SQLite schema for the package model. So we started using the Guile SQLite 3 library to create a basic on-disk SQLite database so that we can store all the information for our website in an efficient way. We may switch to something like PostgreSQL later, but for now we're going to keep it simple. Like I keep saying, start simple and then eventually add more complexity later when it seems to be necessary. We'll use an on-disk database with SQLite. I think we'll be able to get pretty far with that because it's a pretty high-quality library and battle-tested, used in many, many places. Pretty much every operating system that you use has components that have SQLite in it, so everybody uses it. So we're using SQLite. We created a basic schema for the package model, which basically is the same thing as what we already have in the record type. So you can see when we initialize the database, I think I still have that in main.scm. When we initialize the database, we're using the SQLite APIs. Here we're saying SQLite exec against the database, create table packages. We only have the primary key and the name right now. So today we'll probably end up adding some more details to that because we're going to try to gather real Emacs package information. So we'll probably change this as we go on today. But that's also there. And then let's see, we also implemented basic CRUD operations for package. So back in the package.scm file, you see we have things like list packages, read package, create, insert package, and delete package. So there's also a set package name. So the idea here is that we're using the actual SQLite library to directly change the rows in the packages table that we created. So list packages is just selecting from the packages table. We're using this SQLite prepare, which I'm going to release a video on the SQLite stuff. It may be out by the time you see this. We'll see. But we're using the SQLite prepare procedure to basically pre-create a query, and then we're executing that query against a database, and then we're using a SQLite map to loop over all of the rows that came back from the database query result and then apply a procedure to them. In this case, I'm passing along a procedure that can be applied to that. Read package looks for a package with a specific ID, uses a select statement with a where clause to pull that out. The interesting thing here is the SQLite bind arguments procedure, which allows us to more safely refer to a particular location in the query syntax so that we're not, falling prey to query injection attacks. At least that's what I think this is supposed to do. So that's a useful thing that we'll probably see more of as we go through this whole exercise. Inserting a package, obviously we're going to insert into the database, and we're using just the name field because we're trying to let it do the auto increment of the ID of the package. However, I think ultimately we're going to end up coming up with our own ID format that allows an ID of a package to be unique across different synchronizations of the package data. There may be reasons for that. I don't really have a good explanation yet, but I feel intuitively that maybe just using an auto-incrementing ID is going to be a problem at some point. Also, delete and update, nothing really special here, but the thing that is kind of interesting is set package name. So I've decided to not just expose the normal set package name setter procedure for the record type from this module. As you can see here in the record type, I'm saying set package name with an underscore at the front because I'm basically saying this is going to be private inside this module. I don't want to export that for other people to use. I want them to use this set package name instead. because what I want to do is update the database and the record instance at the same time with the value that's being set. And for now, at least, that's the strategy I'm going to go with. I'm not going to try to do some kind of generic set of all the or arbitrary fields of the record type, but we might change that in the future if we decide that it becomes a little bit too cumbersome to try to make individual set procedures. But I do think that in a lot of ways that you end up with procedures that relate to actual actions against the model types instead of just saying really low level, oh, I'm just setting this field. Maybe there's something a little bit more complex. There's some whole concept of an action that needs to be applied to a particular model type, and it needs to update multiple fields simultaneously, and maybe there's a more direct and efficient way to do that. So I'm just sort of leaving the possibility open for now that we might go with a more direct approach and not so much of a generic approach. Okay, and I also mentioned that I split out the package model into its own module. So we had not created any modules yet in this project, but I did start the site module path with models under that and package. We'll probably add some more things to this folder structure pretty soon. So we basically just, Zane says, you should check out my favorite Emacs package, quote, semicolon, attached database. Yeah, we're basically trying to do SQL injections. Thanks, Ashraz. It was a notification. I turned off the sound for that. Okay. So we've got all of the package-related procedures and record type definition now in their own module, and we'll end up doing the same things for the other models that we add to the code as time goes on. So that is what we'll do from that point. We also updated the package list and detail pages to load from the database. I kind of glossed over that before, but inside of these templated SXML procedures, we now have the ability to load the actual package list from the database and create instances of the record type from that, and then use that information whenever we generate the templates for the package listing on the /packages URI path. Same thing for the packages detail page. We call the read package procedure, and then we use the ID that's been passed in as part of the route path, and then load up the package details for that. I probably should just show you what the actual page looks like so that you get an idea of what the whole thing is doing. So let me just back up one level and run compile, and then, oh, that's actually not the right one. Let me pull up ANSI term, in fact. This is gonna be Geeks shell, that's the one, okay. And I'm using this specific invocation here, Geeks shell -m manifest.scm. You can check out the manifest file here. We just pull in 3 packages right now, Guile SQLite 3, Guile Fibers. And we're passing through the command for Guile-L, and we're giving it the source path as the module path because we want that site models package to be the actual module name of that module. See a big ED. And we're also running the main.scm file directly, and we're passing in -- fresh autocompile because we had some trouble last time with precompiled versions of the source files not being updated correctly. So I want to make sure those actually are up to date every time we run the program. So we can add the -- fresh autocompile to make sure that's the case. Now we can see that the site is listening on localhost 8080. So localhost 8080, we pull that up. We see our emacspackages.com website. Pretty plain, pretty boring for now. We will change that later. If I click on package listing, now we can see there are 3 packages here, and these are all the ones that we created in the database last time. We created those manually from the Reppel. So we did a little bit of Reppel-driven development to test the database code as we were writing it, and also insert things into the database in real time. So it was pretty useful to use the Reppel for this purpose, to experiment and to also put some test data in. Ashra says, did you already register the domain? Yeah, I registered it before the first stream so that we know for sure that we have it. So yes, we've got that for sure. Surprisingly, it was available. The last thing we tried to do last time is to set up a cooperative Reppel server. And the idea there is that while the web server is running, we should be able to connect to it with a Geyser Reppel and then interactively evaluate expressions in the running environment so that we can change things like the procedures used for handling requests, change the overall templating of the code, or sorry, of the websites, change the database handling, change basically everything about the running application. We didn't get it fully working last time. We might hack on it again in a little while, but at least for now, that's something that will happen, just isn't currently working. And that's pretty much it up until present day. Today, what we're going to try to do is actually pull in the package repository information from the various, well, at least the various ELPA-based repos like ELPA and MELPA, because those I think should be pretty straightforward to get information from, and then populate our database with that information, and then start to see how we might be able to flesh out our data model for packages, and find what other useful information we could put into there, and then flesh out the website a little bit more to have a more interesting display of the information at large. Later, we'll try to pull in information from other sources, but we're not going to worry too much about that just now. I think there should be a way to automate that with Geeks and or Nix, but that's just something for another day. Capability Snob says, might be worth implementing a lookup by name before scraping. Yeah, it could be something worth doing, lookup by name. Hadn't thought about it, but yeah, we definitely should add that too. So anyway, for now, that's sort of where we're at. If you're interested in seeing more of this development live, check out the Crafter Hours streams that are around 7:30 a.m. UTC on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's not really a good time frame for folks who live in the side of the world that North America is in, but for those of you in Europe, it's fairly reasonable time, I think. You know, everybody can just sort of chill at work, doing what they need to do, and watch me bumble around with some Guile scheme code for a couple hours. And then if you don't catch the streams, it's okay, because I'm going to be putting recap videos just like this in the Real World Scheme Programming playlist. So you can catch up with the development on that. And anything that we do that's interesting, like if there's a specific topic that happens during the stream, some development technique, or like an explanation of a library that we're using, or maybe a common pattern and scheme, I'm going to try to cut out individual videos for that stuff as well. Probably also cut out some more shorts about specific questions that people are asking. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out of these streams, so you don't actually have to participate in the streams or watch the whole stream recordings to get the value out of the streams. I would say only watch the stream recordings if you really are interested in seeing the whole experience. Otherwise, it's much better just to watch the videos that are coming out of the streams. And that's sort of where I'm going to focus my time, at least in the next few months. I'm just going to focus on making content out of the actual development of projects, because I think we've spent enough time on, Emacs configurations on the channel. We're still going to talk about Emacs plenty, but I think for the purpose of, what we want to do in 2025, focusing more on programming, both with Guile Scheme, but also Common Lisp and maybe even other languages, would be a bit more interesting for the people who follow the channel. I'm getting a lot of interest, I think, in what we're doing currently. So I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be really cool, and I hope you're excited about it too. So leave a note in the comments of the video, leave a like, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the videos that are coming out as well. I would certainly love to hear feedback on the sort of the quality level, the length, whether they make sense, that sort of thing. So let me know what you think. And until next time, happy hacking. All right, there's a video. Yes, the pirate software approach. I mean, it's sort of like that. That's sort of the standard these days, I think, for programming content creators, which is fine. Ashra says, chill at work, buddy. Meetings start at 8:30 UTC every day. Speaking of, I need to get ready for the digital commute. Cal says, I had to look up Salute Your Shorts after watching the Monday stream. Oh, boy. Let's see, where were we just now? Because 38 minutes in, let me make a note of that. All right. Osra says on the Twitch side, Haskell as a first programming language sounds like an interesting experience, though. I think it was my fourth. Yeah, Haskell as a first language might be pretty interesting. Wrong chat window. I mean, that's kind of an interesting question to ask. Give me 1 second. So should you learn functional programming as a first programming language? I think it can be pretty interesting to learn functional programming, a functional programming language as your first language. Like someone in this chat mentioned they were learning Haskell as a first programming language. I don't know that I would actually pick Haskell as a first functional programming language or as a first language to learn, mainly because Haskell itself is a bit more mystifying, in my opinion, than other functional languages that you could learn as a first language. I think, Lisps might be better because there's a better blend of functional plus imperative or procedural style programming, so that you can get a taste of what you can do with functional programming patterns and understand the general model of how data flows through a functional program, as opposed to just using variables that you change everywhere, like global variables, or the things that people always say, oh, you should never do global variables. Yeah, well, sure. It's better to have a more practical environment to learn the principles of functional programming, in my opinion, than to go hardcore and try to learn Haskell first. However, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't learn Haskell as your first programming language. If it's interesting to you and you feel motivated to do it, you should do it, and you'll probably learn a lot from it. But you may have kind of a skewed perspective when going to learn other programming languages after that, because you're going to have your whole worldview informed by what Haskell does. And Haskell is pretty unique. So I would say maybe if you want to learn functional programming, focus on something like Scheme, or even a language like Python. You can do functional programming in Python or JavaScript just the same, but you'll have a more practical environment that has a lot more tools available to you that you can use, and you can get a lot more help on the internet whenever you get stuck on problems. So it's great to learn functional programming. I think it is possible to learn functional programming as a first language, but I don't know that I would go as far as using Haskell. I would probably pick something a bit more practical that also has other programming styles available to you. Okay. There's a little short for you. Paul says, my first functional language was Clojure, which is pretty strictly functional, less so than Haskell. I don't use it anymore. Yeah. Clojure, so for me, using Clojure and F#, I learned both of those around the same time. And having to deal with immutability by default definitely changes the way you write code. And to go as far as using Haskell, and like Paul mentions, to having to learn, excuse me, learn Monads to use Monads, that is, it's kind of asking a lot for you to understand why a monad would be even necessary to start with. Because I think monads are kind of like coping with the limitations of pure functional programming. And I say coping as if it's a bad thing. I mean, really it's the way to do, carrying state across in a way that isn't a complete headache. However, it is complex. So I don't know. Trev says, what are monads called in Go? I'm not going to answer that question because I know exactly where you're going, buddy. Jeez. I can't take you anywhere, Trev. You're always complaining about Visible Bell and, criticizing me in my own chat. And now you're trying to make me say bad words in the chat. Get this guy out of here, all right? Arturo says, learning a bit of Emacs Lisp and a bit of F# too. You should check out the videos I made on F#. How long ago was that? 2016? Almost 10 years ago. I made about 5 videos on F# and then I gave up because it was too hard. And F# wasn't hard. It was too hard to make videos in the way that I was doing it. Zane says, do types appeal to newcomers? I appreciate them from the point of knowing how much memory to allocate. Don't listen to Trev, Paul. Trev is trying to play a little joke on everyone. Trust me on that. Okay, so let's get into the actual process of the programming. I'm trying to think of which part of this might actually be useful or interesting as a video. I mean, the scraping part would be interesting. First of all, I need to figure out obviously, there has to be a way for Emacs itself to request the package archives from a package repository, because it does that all the time. Whenever you run, package refresh contents. When you run package refresh contents, this goes and pulls the information from package repositories so that you have the latest information about what packages are available. Why is this so slow? What is happening? So I think I'm going to end up switching back to graphical Emacs, because I'm having some strange issues with terminal Emacs from time to time, and I'm a little bit annoyed with it. So that'll probably happen soon. 10x programmer says monads are easy. A monad is just a monoid in the category of indefunctors. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why monads are easy, because just by describing it in technical terms, everybody understands exactly what that is. I know exactly what you mean. A monad is not like a burrito. A monad is just a monoid in the category of indefunctors. I mean, can't anybody understand that? A 5-year-old can understand that. I could tell my 6-year-old daughter that, and she would understand that. No, I don't understand what the hell that is. I don't know category theory. Okay. Let's see. Package, refresh, contents, hook. What's in there? Package, download, and read archives. Package, download, and read archives. All right. This thing's about to make me curse. No. What the hell? Can I focus on a frame, for God's sake? All right. Package download one archive. Okay. This is sad, I have to say. Like, it's lagging so bad, and this computer is not even doing anything. Osprey says, why exactly to use Emacs in the terminal again? Dude, it did it again. Sure, autosave. No, don't dump. The idea was that I wanted to make sure that anything that I was doing in Emacs would translate to terminal Emacs if I were to use terminal Emacs in other places, like let's say in a TTY or on a remote server. And just, you know, as an exercise to see how far one can get in terminal Emacs. But it has been a little bit annoying, I have to say. So I think I'm going to end up dropping that pretty soon. Still, I'm going to use the vanilla configuration I'm using. I'm just not going to use terminal Emacs primarily. But I need to make sure that what I do continues to work in terminal Emacs. So there will probably be cases where I use terminal Emacs just to keep myself up to date on that. All right, Ashraz. Let's see. Download one archive. Retrieve an archive file from archive and cache it. All right, so there's archive files apparently. Arturo says, Haskell means God strengthens in Hebrew. It takes divine intervention to get me patient to learn Haskell. Yes. I guess it will strengthen your patience to learn Haskell. All right, checking signatures. Oof. Update downloads in progress. Man, this code is kind of funky. Okay, asynchronous downloads. Update downloads in progress. Because I need to see how Emacs is pulling this information. Package read all archive contents. So apparently there's an archive file. Man, this thing is running so slow, it's insane. Show packages. Read archive file. We're getting there. Package archive version. Okay. So, it might be a file that we can get to. Let me just roll back up to... Jesus, I hit Fgfg again. Sorry, Control G again. Man, this is a nightmare, dude. What's going on? Now the terminal doesn't even let me type anymore. All right, so download. From location by appending sig. You can also clone the Melpa repo. Yeah, maybe so. I don't really want to do that though. I want to download whatever archive the system is using. Where is the URL? Archive file. Cooter archive. So let me check package archives. Okay, so we got the package list here. If I go just to this URL. Okay. Couldn't possibly be just the contents of the website, could it? See you, Ashraz. Buffer string. It is location. This is getting really weird. No, I don't want to abort. Speaker says, don't forget to eat. Thank you. I don't really think I have that problem right now, though. This is really strange. Okay. I'm still not sure where it's getting it from. URL retrieve? Package with response buffer. Ah. Here we go. Cooter archive. That's it right there. Package with response buffer. Cooter archive. File. Is that it? They're just literally downloading the page? Melpa doesn't work like that, does it? Let's see what the Melpa one has. Melpa.org/packages. Ugh. Is it a content type? Because there's nothing there. Yeah, exactly. There must be a header or a content type or something. Content type. This is what I'm telling you. This is going to drive me insane to have to deal with this all the time. No, I don't want to abort. Okay, so header. No. I don't see any other. Is it a user agent thing? Are we faking user agents? Oh man. Emacs URL retrieve user agent. That the user agent package name URL/Emacs will be generated. URL, here we go, URL user agent. This value is default. Sure. What a, whoa. That's a face? Oh, okay. I see why I did that. Emacs 30 and newer never includes the email address in the user agent string. Why would it ever do that? That's really weird. Okay, so, damn it. All right, so I think it must be a user agent thing. Can I fake, let's see, Firefox, developer tools, user agent. User agent switcher. Let's see. Responsive design mode. I really do not want to have to install an extension for this. But I guess what I could do, let's see, hold on. The most straightforward thing to do would be to use the web client for Guile to get this. So let's see. So use modules web client. There is a HTTP request procedure. I just want to try this really quickly, and then we can get into the actual, doing of things. So it was HTTP request. It's insane to me how slow this is. And let me get one of the package repos. First, I'll pull Melpa. They must all be doing this. It's just a matter of the user agent. And if you set that correctly, I need to use the module. If you set that correctly, hopefully they'll give you the right information. So use web client. Name or, oh, yep, I made a mistake. Guile sounds cool. Reminds me of Street Fighter. Yes. All right, so you will be redirected. Okay, so can I set the user agent header? Just plain old user agent. And what was that other thing I saw? Package name is the value of URL package name. What is that? Nil. Theme music. Yes, it is a theme music. Okay. So to put headers in, headers. Okay, it's just an A list probably. Need to fix that list. I'm guessing this is the way. I don't know if that needs to be a symbol though. Not a symbol. Okay. Thank you. Still not giving it to me. There must be something else that I'm missing. I'm trying to stop it before it goes anywhere else. Network. Archive.json. What is this? Is it a JSON file with all the packages? Why would it get that? Unless, oh, okay, I see. Cal says there's an about config value you can set next time for Firefox. Okay. Download counts. Is that for everything? Damn. That's interesting. All right. Still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's something that is being sent. Incomprehensible buffer. Is there a way to trace? Oh, okay. Debug messages which are logged to the URL debug buffer. T means log all messages. Okay, so set queue URL debug T. Now package refresh contents. URL debug. Let's see here. There we go. User agent, URL Emacs, Emacs version. Anything else? Packages / archive contents. That's probably what we're missing there. So packages / archive contents. There it is. That looks like a big ol' alias of some sort. Oof. That's a lot of stuff. We're going to have to do some processing on that for sure. Okay. Let's head back to the Reppel then. And then I don't think we need the user agent in that case. There we go. And this is spit out in what form? Okay, so we would have to read this in. Damn, that's enough. Still going, whatever. We'll wait for that to finish, and then we can start actually trying to write some code against this. Thank you to QQQ. Finally managed to figure that out. Just had to turn on URL debugging to get that information. Is this ever going to finish? Can I press Control D? Control C? What can I do to stop this thing now? All right, let's just kill the buffer. How about that? Okay, finally it stopped. All right. Let's see, how do I want to approach this? What I need to do is read this in as an actual Lisp object, emulating a terminal inside a terminal, sort of. It wasn't really a terminal, that was a Reppel. So it was just spitting out a ton of stuff and I couldn't stop it. Okay. Because at the same time, I'm trying to think about how I would structure this into a video about using the web client library. QQQ says, I got it from the package download and read archives function. Let me check that real quick. Okay, yeah. Archive contents, got it, thank you. Interesting that it has a parameter for that. I wonder if other archives may have different paths. File, okay. Archive, okay. It's parameterized, but the parameter is literally never changed, so whatever. I guess it's just there in case somebody needs to hook in a custom package archive, which makes sense. So, I think we can try to do this in the REPL. I think the way that the Emacs itself does it is pretty smart in that it downloads it to a file first and then starts processing it, so we're not doing it all at the same time. Could also do some diffing. Well, I wouldn't say diffing per se, but... Also, let's take a look at this really quick. What do I see here? So there's the layout. There's a 1 here. I don't know what that 1 means, unless it's a version number. Then everything else, it looks like an A list of, and you can't really see that, an A list of package name and then a vector containing information. And this appears to be like an Emacs timestamp. I guess we can figure out a way to read that in. Emacs version information. Yeah, there's a specific format involved here that we may have to digest. Authors, maintainers. Yeah, that's just an A list with keyword symbols effectively. Dependencies, I think we see here. Okay, so we should be able to pull that stuff out. So I guess the goal here would be to show how we can grab the information and then process it. So let me just see if I can write that down. Download the archive contents file and process exactly capability snob. Download the archive contents file and process the contents, determine structure. Yeah, I could do that. You're right. I could just copy the whole file and then paste it somewhere and use it, but I would rather have it be downloaded. So this could be another library. So let's see if we can get this started off. In fact, give me 2 minutes and I'll be right back, and then we will get started on the actual task of coding this. So I'll be right back. Alrighty. So today, the goal for the project is to try and scrape the package information from the various ELPA, MELPA package archives. We happen to discover during the stream that there is a specific URL endpoint on the various package archives. So let's say, for instance, if you wanted to go to the ELPA archives here, there's a specific endpoint you can use to gather all the information about what's in the package archive, and that is the packages/archive contents file, archive contents. If you download this file, it actually gives you back effectively a file containing an S expression that has all the details about the packages that are a part of the repository. This is the one for the GNU ELPA. Here's also the one for the MELPA repository. So they seem to follow this same strategy. We figured this out by looking at the package.el code. There's a number of functions in here. I won't go through all of them right now, but if you've traced the behavior inside this file, you'll see that it is downloading the contents of this archive contents folder, and thank you to QQQ for pointing this out to me. It's the URL that is part of package archives. If you look at the package archives variable, any of these URLs that you have, it just basically appends this archive contents onto the end. So for elpa.gnu.org, that's /packages/archive contents. For non-GNU, apparently there's a different path. It's non-GNU/archive contents. In fact, let's just go double check that right now to make sure, because who knows, it could be different. So I'll just go copy this real fast, and then we'll go drop it into the browser with archive contents on the end, and that also seems to show up. So we've got 3 different paths there. I think the MELPA stable will also follow the same strategy. That will give us all the information we need to scrape the, I guess I'm calling it scrape. It's not really scrape per se, because scraping implies that you're taking information of one type, like an HTML page, and then you're sort of like you're scraping the information off of it. Technically speaking, we're just downloading a file and then processing it with our code, but that's fine. That's just sort of the way that I decided to describe it today. But with this information, we should be able to write some Guile scheme code to process the contents of these files, because they are just S expressions, and then extract the package information from them to then insert that information into our own database so that we can start using it for various purposes. So I think that probably the non-GNU ELPA or the main ELPA repository will be the simplest one to start with, because they may have less packages than MELPA does. MELPA is quite large. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to go into a separate file inside of the repository. So if I can find my way back to my main.scm file, let's say site/util/ package archive.scm. Let's call it package archive. I don't know. That's just the way that I'm going to call it for now. Define module site util package archive. And then I don't really have anything to import. Oh, I do have something to import. We're going to import the use modules web client library. So that is the built-in client library for making web requests to HTTP endpoints that is part of Guile. And that's sort of part of what we're going to do today is we're going to use the web client library to download the file, and then we're going to read that in and try to process it. So define download package archive URL. We can just start with that. And then there is a procedure in the web client library documentation called HTTP request. So we can say HTTP request URL. We kind of want to do a little concatenation here. I think it's a string append for that purpose. Let me run the Geyser Reppel because we're going to try to do some live evaluation of this as well. String append Okay, string append URL, and then we want to append archive contents on the end there. So that's a basic thing we can start with. Okay, I need to actually import web client first. So use web client down in the REPL doing this. We're using the Geyser REPL, by the way, to do all this. All right, so now I'm going to jump back into the REPL and say download package archive. That's going to be the one for ELPA. Let's start with ELPA. Paste that in. And now it should download that package archive. There's a bunch of stuff in there. This is all probably coming back as binary data. We're going to have to just load it back. You're parsing with scheme and not eLisp. Yes, because I'm writing a Guile scheme program. So once again, we got a whole lot of data coming back. We're going to have to handle this differently, I think, to get the text version of it back. I don't know if we need like a content type or something. Decode body true. This should have been decoded. If body is not false, a message body will also be sent. Okay, so it needs to be false. We're not sending a body. If streaming is true, instead of eagerly reading a response body from the server, the function reads off only the headers. Response body will be returned as a port on which the data may be read. So we might change that at some point to write it out to a file directly, but we'll see. Returns two values, the response read from the server and the response body as a string, byte vector, false value, or as a port if streaming is true. Which one defaults to false? Streaming? Yes. Streaming defaults to false. It should be decoding the body and reading it completely, but as we saw here, in this case, for some reason, it appears to be a byte vector. We're going to have some fun with that, aren't we? Yeah, it's a byte vector that we end up getting back. So we got the response record information. So body defaults to F because we're not sending a body with the HTTP request. It's just a GET request. It does return two values. And you see them here, 6 and 7. Let's see. Content length. I'm trying to think of the syntax to read the value. So, Guile values. So we need to be able to handle multiple value responses. And we can use call with values, but I think there's another way. Okay, receive. So there's receive that we can use to pull out the response. And we're going to do this here, receive. That's part of the ICE9 receive library, so we're going to need to pull that in too. Use modules ICE9 receive. I feel like there's another let form in Guile that will do this as well, like let values, but let's just use this for now. So receive response and body from HTTP request. And then there's a series of expressions that come after that. So is there a byte vector to string? Byte vector to string. I'll just check that and see byte vectors, string. Interpreting byte vector contents as Unicode strings. Okay, string to, oh wait, UTF-8 to string. And let's just see what that does. I'm gonna evaluate this. We need to also pull in the ICE9 library and RN/RS byte vectors. So let's pull those two in as well. So we're going to have to say use modules RN/RS byte vectors as well. Let me just eval that whole form. I need to put an S. No, sorry. Use modules on all of these. That's wrong. There we go. Now, we're going to call download package archive again. Unbound variable receive. Did I not use ice9 receive? Response. Interesting that it's getting confused about this. I've pulled in ice9 receive and for do I need to reeval that? Guile let values. That's Surfy 11. Okay, so that hopefully should let us get the values back. There we go. So possibly unbound variable let values. Did I not pull that in already here? Surfy 11. All right, so let's try this one more time. Unbound variable response. I don't know why it's still doing that. What if I just eval this directly? Unbound variable URL. Okay, yeah, sure. I think it's probably doing something. There it is. Okay, so it did pull it out. The actual conversion to a string is working. We can see that here. So there is a string. And then once we have that string, we can just pass that straight into read. And that should actually work. Let's see. Raise exception run type argument and position 1. Does it read string? Or is it from a port? Scheme read. Read options. It's reading from a port. That's fine. And port, current input port. So with input from string. Is that right? Yeah, with input from string, read. We're just waiting for the response to come back and to be processed. And probably for it to be read in as well. Yeah, it's still doing something. I should probably cache that output at least. Because it takes a while to download it all again. Waiting. It does something. but it doesn't actually give us a value back. I don't know what's happening. All right. So maybe we should separate this into two different things, so two different procedures. So download package archive out file, let's say. We're gonna just do the bare minimum. Guile match. I bet a match expression can do this. Yeah, so with values x, y, you can pull a match expression out of that too. So maybe I should just use match like a sane person would. Use module ice9 match. Get rid of that too. Let's move this up here maybe. Because why not? Move that too. Okay, so these are the ones we definitely need. Now, download package archive. I'm not going to read it here. I'm just going to write it directly to a file. So with output to file. And the file is going to be out file. And we are going to write string. Is that right? Why is it taking forever to give me something back? Or display, let's say. I mean, we can just display the contents, the output of UTF-8 to string body. And no more let values. We're going to match on the responsive HTTP request. And the match is going to be response body. Glenn says there's a JSON file. Yeah, I don't want to use a JSON file. I want to use whatever Emacs is using, just the direct information that's being given by Emacs, or given to Emacs. Okay, so download package archive. And in theory, this should write it out to a file. Let's see. Get CWD, where are we at? Is that not a legitimate function? I'm pretty sure that was. Cal says match but not match on values. Well, this example right here shows that it should. In fact, we can probably tell in a fresh Reppel because I think I broke that Reppel. Let's see, use ice9 match. Match. Oh, am I being stupid? That is stupid, right? So, I read that wrong. So yeah, you're probably right on that. Peeker says, I always ask ChatGPT instead of reading the docs. Yeah, I am trying to avoid that. I'm definitely not going to do it on a stream. Because we all got to learn something here. We're not going to just depend on AI for everything. So let values in theory would work. If it worked. Let me get back to what was it? Surfy 11 again. Okay. And we're just going to try it out inside of the REPL and make sure that it does what we expect it to do. So we're going to use and I'll bet you the problem that I had before is I was in a wrong place. So let me eval this. I'm also going to, what is it? Geyser module. Geyser module. There is a command for this, and I forgot what it was. You can define values. Well, I don't want to use define. It's not there. Okay. Autodoc mode, doc module, autodoc show, edit module. I swear to God, there's a way to set the active module. I think it's just (M) here though. Site util package archive. There we go. So if I reeval this, let's undo the damage we did. First, we'll do this first. Let values, okay, let values x, y, values 1, 2, x. Okay, so that works. Let values will work. Response body. I keep vacillating here because I don't use multiple values very often. Usually only when I'm using the HTTP library do I end up doing this. Sorry, the web client library. All right, so now we can try that one more time. Oh, let's take this out too. I don't want to hard code that. So download package archive. I suppose, never mind. So we're gonna paste the URL in. We're gonna say elpa.out, I don't know. And let's see, wrong type to apply unspecified. What does that mean? I mean, that's all the contents of, is there a way to jump to the previous control, alt, geyser previous prompt? There we go. So it's using display, I think. But I don't know if it's displaying it to the right port. I need a lambda, don't I? Why didn't it actually say anything? Here we go. Now there should be an elpa.out file somewhere. I swore it's git cwd. I don't know why it's in that folder path. Fantastic. Okay, change directory, home, David Will, projects, sites, / emacspackagescom. All right, and then we're gonna check the directory again, make sure it's there. Yeah, I don't know why it started the REPL up in that particular path. It doesn't make any sense. Am I in the right folder structure? Yeah, I'm in the right place. Okay, so if I were to run that one more time, there should be an elpa.out file. There it is, and it's got everything in there. Okay, so we got one step done. We got it writing out the archive file to a location on disk, which is fine. Maybe, though, it's better to do this as a port. Okay. Then we have a bit more flexibility. Define read package archive input port, because that will be the way we can do it in multiple cases. We can chain these together potentially. So with input from port, excuse me. Actually, we don't need that. And we don't really need that either, do we? Guile write procedure. Scheme write. Write object port. Yeah. I want to write the content, so I don't want it to be quoted. Is there like a write string? I'm pretty sure there's a write string. Guile write string. Strings. Guile textual ports. Actual IO. Textual ports. Write string. No. Put string. Put string. Really shouldn't be necessary though. I'm pretty sure that R7RS, even R6RS has a way to do this. I guess it's just display, right? Straight up display on the port. There we go. Output port. Make that simpler. No BS. All right, there we go. So now read package archive. We're going to read directly from a port. Read input port. I mean, that's kind of it, right? I don't know if we need to do any processing on it though, so let's just try this first. So with input from file elpa.out, and we're gonna call read package archive. It doesn't with input from file take a lambda, or is it call with input file? Maybe that's better. Call with input file. Archive. That looks about right. Okay. I think that should do it. I mean, we have the ability to read that information in that way. All right, so what do we want to do at that point? I mean, to process the package archive, I really don't want to pull in the package module, but it might be necessary. So long as there doesn't end up being any circular dependencies, then we're okay. Use module site model package. Or it could have its own record type. Because the actual model may have things in that this won't have. So we can say define record type. What's it called? Surfy 9, I think. Define record type. Trying to think of what a good name for this would be, because this is like an Emacs package. We're gonna pull a coder on that too to get the actual list, because there's a number at the beginning. Elpa package. That's a good idea, Trev. Great idea. There you go. Good idea, Trev. Elpa package. All right. So we have record type here. Make Elpa package. Name, version, authors, keywords, commit. Maintainer, sure. URL, name, version, URL, description. Is there a description field somewhere? Snippet extension. Okay, Emacs 24.4. Yet another. Let's see, dependencies. Description. Maybe I don't need all this stuff in the constructor though. Maybe it can be set after the fact. So name, version, URL. Take dependencies out. Okay. I could probably destructure this too to some degree with a match expression. All right, so then name, help package name. This is my least favorite part of creating record types in Scheme. Version, help package version, description, help package description. Or would it be like a summary? I don't know. What exactly would you call that? Authors. There's also dependencies. And set elpa package dependencies. I mean, I guess I should just put that in the stupid constructor. Why not? Is that it? Unknown field and constructor spec. Let's see. Version description. Authors, keywords, commit, and dependencies. Okay, so I think it defined that. Now, we should be able to run a map over this. And I'm going to say match lambda, but let's just wait on that for a second. And then I think the cdr is good enough on that, so we should be able to do that. Match lambda. Let's just get the basic stuff out of the way here. Previous prompt. All right, so we got ace window. I think that's a symbol at the very beginning, which we can leave it as a symbol at first, or we can change it to. All right, so name, version, dependencies, description, tar. Is that like a format or something? Format. And this is like properties of some sort. Properties. Let's go with that for now. Let's see. Format. Or no, let's not format that. Let's just make elpa package name, version, dependencies, description. And we got to get the other stuff. Version, URL, description, authors, keywords, commit, dependencies. Dependencies we have, commit we don't have. Let's just throw a little underscore in there. I think that should work, right? Keywords. No. For now. Name, version, URL is part of properties. So let's go. Yeah, we can definitely pass that through. We need to process it a little further. I just want to get this started, and then we will go back and fix everything. Okay, so we got read package archive. Let me go back here and try to run that in the Reppel. It looks like it did something. That's good. So name, yeah, snippet, version 0.14.1. I guess the question is, do we want to keep it in that format? Cal says you can have optional fields in Surfing 9. Really? I mean, kind of do have optional fields in that we don't really have to fill them in. I just say that it's false. Okay, so we're making a little progress here, but we need to kind of speed this up because it's almost time for the stream to be over, about 30 minutes. Okay. So I think we can further decompose the keywords as well, can't we? So if I were to, excuse me. Whoops, I need to go back to the previous prompt and just get a little piece of this. Let's see, can I... There's snippet here. YAML parser, can I steal this? Whoa, what did I just do? Okay, I'll just steal this little section here to give myself something to look at. That's the version, the dependencies, description, the format that it's in. Then there's an, not really an A list. It's kind of strangely configured here. But I can use auxiliary procedures to rip those out if I need to. I don't know if match is going to be able to help me with that. Recursive match could help, but... Okay, yes, that's a list. That's why there's no dot there. Excuse me. It's definitely an A list with keywords in it. So, back in the match docs, do I have match up still? A list, list. Yeah, if it's in a consistent order, then it should be okay to pull that stuff out with match like this, but I don't know if it's going to work. So let's say if I were to do this, URL, probably need to do that. URL, keywords, keywords, I think. Let's start with that. So this would be URL here. Where do we see? It's after authors. So URL, description, authors, keywords. I think I can pull authors out too. Maintainer. That's a cons pair. So let's hit that. Oops. That's also a cons pair. This may not work at all. It's very hand wavy. All right, so we had URL description, authors, keywords, commit. let's see if this works. Okay, so match error with args, no matching pattern. Adaptive wrap. Tar maintainer. Okay, so there's no URL. Okay, it's out of order, so you cannot depend on the ordering of things. So I'm gonna have to process the properties separately, and that's fine. So URL properties. I mean, I don't really need a special procedure for this. I could probably just use, let's see. Let me just grab this real quick. I'll try to hit this into Reppel and find the right invocation. So, and what is the signature for... Doesn't even have to be, it could be ASSQ, key A list. Yeah, URL. Unbound variable, okay, so it needs to be quoted probably. Whoops, that's actually the problem. Come on. Okay, still unbound variable. This needs to be quoted. Got it. Okay, so I mean, there's probably some value in a define get property. Just to do a little bit of sanity checking, so match. No. Actually, maybe yes. So match ASSQ key properties. Key value. We're gonna return value. In fact, we could just drop this on this line. Otherwise, or what is the match all? Okay, underscore F, right? So there's get property. And then we're gonna change the order of this, which is unfortunate. Doing a real nice job of screwing up my code formatting. All right, URL properties, authors properties, cool. And same thing here, we're gonna drop in for keywords. And I'm gonna have to quote all of these, because that's not valid keyword syntax in Guile. At least not by default. All right, so now we might be able to do this. Okay. I must have left something in here. I left all this junk in here. There it is. Okay, so now I think we got what we need. Authors, yeah, we got the list of authors. What else? URL, description, keywords. Okay, so that's much better. I guess the problem, though, is that when we're saving this up to the database, we're going to have to do some post-processing, or pre and post-processing. That's okay. I mean, that's not terrible. And I think maybe part of what we wanted to do today was actually store this in a database. So now that we've loaded it, is it still printing things, or is it just like, what is it doing? All right, whatever, that's a mess. So now we can successfully download and read package archives. All right, so what do we want to do following that? Async ref alias key does that. Okay, so if I just change that to let's see. And I'll go back into my Reppel. Yeah, it seems to work. Thanks, Cal. All right, so now define, how do I want to say this? So import package archives over URLs. Different order? Really? Why would they do that? That's insane. And how did it work? This concerns me that it worked. A-list key, you're right though. S expression. Wish there was a way to just push that item forward. Seems to be working fine again. If it does actually get reevaluated correctly, it's not complaining, so it must be fine. Okay. So I want a kind of a catch-all procedure that can load up the package archives for all URLs. So let's see. So on every one of these, let's see, with no. That's a string port, right? I guess what I'm trying to do here is use the same port, but I don't think I'll be able to do that unless I can rewind a port or something. Random access. Types of port. Yeah, sure, whatever. Let's just do it this way. Okay, so let port no. Download. Wait. Hold on. Is there a call with output string? Call with output string proc calls the one argument procedure with a newly created output port. Call with output string proc. When the function returns, the string composed of the character written port is returned. All right, so we can do that. And that's a port. Yeah, it's not really composing very well here, is it? Because if the idea is that I'm going to be writing out to a port, and then reading back from a port, I can't read and write to the same port, I don't think. So should I just handle it in strings instead? Just make things a little bit simpler. All right, so no output port. We're just going to return the string directly. How about that, eh? Just be simple. Maybe it'd be easier just to archive contents. For the read, we're going to need one. So with output port, output, wait, hold on. With input from string. The archive contents, or was it like call with input string? Yeah, there we go. Read. So we download the archive. We need to pass it through to read package archive. We're not doing any error checking here. This is completely terrible. And when we do that, we get a list of packages back, so we can concat or append, let's say, append packages. And the result that comes back, but we need to call this recursively. So loop, footer URLs, and append packages. And that should do that. So if I were to go back into the Reppel and call import First, let's do this. I need that. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to pull from ELPA only at first, just to see if it works. Okay, match error, match no matching pattern, empty list. Oh, yeah, sure. And we're going to return the packages list whenever it's an empty list. All right, so that's working. Also, we may have to do some deduping at some point. So consider deduplicating package listing. Okay. So now we could try to do all of them. Or not all. Let's just say we're going to do non-GNU ELPA and main ELPA. Let's see, what was the repo for that? Package archives. In theory, that should be both of them. Cool. All right, we got about 10 minutes. Can I make some database table entries as a result of this? Let's see. I want to write a little bit of test code for this. I also need to export a few things. Just those for the moment. Later, we'll have to do more, for sure. Back in main, when we do initdb, fetch the package listing. So we're going to pull in site util package archive. And we're going to pull in the same form that we used here. And once we have that, we can loop over that. So for each lambda package, insert package db. I need to do a little translation, I think. So let me go back to package.scm. Insert package db name. Okay, so we're a little bit higher level here. We might actually need to well, first of all, we're going to need to change the schema slightly. We have name text. What else were we planning to put in? The description and the version. Version text. Let's just say text for now. Description text. Hopefully that works that way. I also need to go and delete the existing database file so that it will get recreated. So we're creating a new schema. Text, version, description, back in package.scm, name, version, description. Okay. And let's go back to main. I want to write out a log that we're fetching. Here I actually need to format that to a string. I know it's not going to be right, but we're just going to format it to a string so that it can be stored in the database. All right, we got that, and packages. There we go. We got the let closed off, and I think that's closing off the entire procedure. initdb, display, fetching, ELPA repositories. Okay. So let's actually try to run this in the ANSI term. It may crash and burn. We're going to find out real fast. Okay, import package archives. That's not being exported yet, so we'll go to package archive. Okay, so it says it's listening. I think it's because I already created the database. So let me go back and delete that file. Okay, now I'm going to kill this and then run it again. Okay, fetching ELPA repositories. Unexpected value. Okay, so I need to change the package name to a string as well. So let me go back into package archive. And whenever I create one of these, it needs to say symbol to string. So I'm going to delete emacspackagescom, and then I'm going to run the shell again. Run the sync again, let's say. Okay, so it seems to have completed the fetch. It should have put all those in the database. If we go to localhost 8080 now and go to the package listing, then it must have crashed. No matching pattern. I think my code in the renderer is not working because I have a match expression and it's not actually picking up all the stuff that it should. So that's in what? Packages index. So name, version, description. Okay, let's try that again. It's a little bit brittle if that's the case. If you actually have to have a vector with the exact same number of items coming out. List packages. All right, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. There it is. So we actually have a listing of all the packages that we've synced from both repositories. Now they're not sorted. So you're going to see it start over here at A again because I'm just concatenating them together. But we do have a listing of all packages that we have pulled in from ELPA and 9GNU ELPA. Same thing on the details page, it seems. So if I were to go to package detail, there's another place where I'm using match. I'm quite sure. What was the error? No matching pattern, match error. That is in read package. Okay, so probably in package.scm, match. See a capability snob. Right here, ID, name, version, description. So I think we probably need to change how we're handling all this, but that's okay. For now, it's working more or less. All right, so now if I were to reload this and get details for package number 6, okay, so it's details for adaptive wrap. Just to prove everything, let's go into the details page. I'm going to write out the name, sorry, the version and the description of the package. So P, let's see. version. Probably not the best way to do this. We don't want a paragraph for each one. Description. Okay, so we got that and that. Inside of our div, calling it in render page. Backend package.scm, we also need to make sure that we have the accessors, or we need to add accessors or initializers, let's say. Get rid of this source, I don't know. Well, source actually, I need to keep that. So, package name, package source, package version, package description. And then when I call make package, that's in main here. Version and description. I'm pretty sure that's the order that I used. Source, version, description. Okay. So then back over in ANSI term, I should be able to run this one more time. Okay. So in main, I am missing a parenthesis somewhere. It's in this procedure, I believe. Yeah. Packages detail. I think render page, values. That should probably do it. And then reload. Okay, it failed. Unbound variable read package. Where? Something must have happened. Syntax error, wrong number of arguments in form, make package, package.scm, make package. Okay, there we go. Always pay attention to compiler errors. All right, there we go. Adaptive wrap version 0.8 and smart line wrapping with wrap prefix. So we've got real Emacs repository package information loaded up and in our local database. So now this is actually part of our own code and our own database. We can do whatever we want with it. And if I were to go take a look at that file, how big is this file? Okay, so it's only about 57 kilobytes, thereabouts. Which is not that bad, I think. Yes says, what are we scraping repos for? An Elpa front end. It's kind of like a package index site for Emacs packages that does a lot more. I've got a video that's going to come out that will just explain it. At the beginning of the stream, I explained it, but I'm going to put a video out that explains it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with what we managed to accomplish. I think that we did actually get that working. So insert package details, initial package details, let's say, into our SQLite database. Update package details page to display version and description. So now that we've got all that working, we should be able to continue forward and add some more information from the packages to the website and maybe start actually, you know, improving the way that it looks. So for next time, what will we do? Finish porting Elpa, non-GNU, Elpa, and Melpa package details into our database. Let's see. Finish porting ELPA, non-GNU ELPA, and MELPA package details into our database. Search for packages by name on the site. What else? Package listing page should use a table with columns. What else? I mean, what would be the goal? Obviously, we've got the information now. What can we do with this information at this point? I mean, make it searchable. Sure, we could definitely make it searchable. Any other thoughts? To move us closer to the actual functionality of the site, we might need a way for someone to create an account and give their package listing, or give something that will allow us to get their package listing. I mean, also define the strategy for periodically updating package details. So upserts. Basically, we need to scan the package contents, but then we need to check to see if the details of a given package have changed since the last time, and then update the database. Also, we want to store the last updated time for a package record. Also, make sure to log the source of the package. ELPA, non-GNU, ELPA, MELPA, MELPA stable. Deduplicate package information if they share the same name. Sort package listing, but that maybe doesn't matter so much. I don't know. Okay. That seems like a good enough list of things that we could possibly do next time. So I think that really is just using the information we've got, improving the appearance of it, and starting to make the website somewhat functional. So we can get back to that at some point. Oh, wow. I just noticed my camera position has drastically changed. There you go. A little bit of behind the scenes look there. All right. Well, I think that was a pretty good result for today. So I'm going to go ahead and call the stream here. Thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention. I saw that there are a number of you who were just kind of watching most of the time. Appreciate that. You know, it's always nice to see people interested in seeing some live coding happening from scratch. We'll be back here again on next Monday. The next next of the series in this stream. Good God, my brain's not working. The next instance, or the next stream in this series, will be next Monday. Okay, so Friday, the normal Friday stream happens. That's its own thing. It's not really tied into what we do here. So Monday will be when we stream again, but there will be a video from the streams this week, or a couple of videos from the streams this week that will be coming out soon. So thank you all for watching. Thanks to the people in the chat who are giving hints and tips. Appreciate it. Trev says he was put into a trance. I hope that's a good thing. I don't know. It may be a bad thing, but so long as I can get you to give me all of your Bitcoin, then that's a win for me. All right, folks. Thanks for being here. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll probably see some of you in IRC. Until next time, happy hacking. We'll see ya.